Hello guys, and welcome to a new Wargame video today by me, Vulcan. Today I have another deck video for you guys where I'm going to be joined by Bubblebox and SilverRaptor again. Please make sure that you check out Bubblebox's channel in the description below, and if you want more videos like this, then please also make sure you check out the playlist that will be linked below. In this video, we're going to be going through our decks, our deck selection, and the reason for our unit choices. And in this one, we're going to be looking at the overall Redfor deck. So hopefully you enjoy the video, hopefully it helps you out. But in this one, we're going to be starting off with myself going through the logistics vehicles. Okay, so to start on this deck, I actually have the Velitelski Stab, which are the Czech command infantry in the Mi-17. I chose the Mi-17 as their vehicle to come in for, just so that it was a helicopter, so I can get it to places like wherever I want it basically. And they also have the 122mm rocket pods, and they have 20 missiles, and those things are incredible. The Mi-17 is an incredibly powerful helicopter for its price, so I really like to use that after I've dropped off the command infantry.
Yeah.
Then moving on, I've got the BTR-70K. This is fast APC, minor armament, nothing special. Can actually take out armor because it does have AP power, but generally I have it because it's armored and it's fast, so it can get around. It's also amphibious and a very reliable command APC.
Yep. Cool.
Now in my logistics, I don't have an FOB. Probably should have mentioned that first of all. But I am going for the same thing that I did in my Blue 4 deck, which is just taking like the biggest supply vehicles I can get. So I didn't quite go as big as you can get with the Mi-26, but I did take the Mi-6, which is just as big in terms of the size, but has less supply, but it obviously costs less. So it's a bit more maintainable in the decks where this sort of deck, you don't have so many points to play with, so I need to keep the costs down in some places. Then to accompany those, I have the VLKV T815s. These are the East German variant of the Koloss, which has 2,400 supply, 100 km/h speed off-road, can get really quickly to places that you need it, and obviously with a large supply amount, you can stick around and supply all your units for quite a while.
Sure, and it's got a strength of 10 as well, so it can take a little hit.
Yeah. Also, the one front armor makes it good, survivable against artillery.
Yeah.
So that's all my logistics.
Cool. And Silver, what have you got? Anything a bit different?
I have a little bit. I did get a fob. My philosophy for Blue 4 Redfor deck is trying to keep your units alive as long as possible, and you need lots of supply to do that. So I got the fob. I decided to pick the Chinese fob. I don't know why. They're all the same, so I just grabbed one. For the supply, I actually went with the biggest helicopter, the Mi-26, for the 6,000 supply. Interesting note, it takes 3 of these to empty an entire fob, so just be warned about that for anyone who wants to try this out. And then I also actually got the Koloss for the supply, because it's 2,400 liters, and driving that back and forth between the Mi-26 and wherever it's needed. And for command, I got the BMD-2K. Reason why is this autocannon on this CV has proven itself to be very good in shooting down helicopters or any infantry trying to sneak up on it. It just rips them to shreds. So, like I said, I like to have CVs that can defend themselves.
Yeah, I like that choice. That's nice.
Yeah, it's a very good command unit.
And that's it, is it? That's your only command?
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Well, I've got kind of different stuff this time, so I might as well quickly go over it. Got my fob. I've got a Russian fob. Mi-6, same as Vulcan, but I've gone, as I normally do, for an amphibious logistics truck, just in case need a bit of amphibious action. The MTB-LB. I did consider the bigger truck, but these still do have a strength of 10, although they don't have, and a little bit of armor as well. So although the supply is less with these, but I have got my fob and my Mi-6 as well. For commands, I've gone for a kind of a basic infantry unit, the, how do you pronounce that? The Command Commandunar or whatever it is, or basic infantry unit, but I've got them in Mi-8 TVs for a little bit of fire support at the beginning of the game. Not quite as powerful as Vulcans, but not too far off, I hope. And
they're pretty much exactly the same, I think.
Is it? Oh,
yeah, they have the 122mm rockets as well on the MTV.
Oh, is it the same? Cool.
They're just a different nation.
Yeah. But I have got another command. I've gone for a tank command as well. Again, a little bit controversial because you don't get that many points in these decks. And I've gone for 2 commands and a fob, so it's a big heap of points right at the start. T72 K1. I just wanted a nice big tank command to put on the front line with decent armor to withstand that artillery shelling that's inevitable in a lot of the games. So that's all of my logistics.
Cool.
All right.
So moving on to the infantry.
All right. Well, first off, there's always the one type of infantry that I know everyone is going to have on the Redfor. It comes down between a choice between the Spetsnaz and the Lijuan 90s. Now, I looked extensively between these two, and I found the Lijuan 90s are only ever so slightly better than the Spetsnaz. I don't know if you guys think about that.
Yeah, the Lijuan are definitely better, actually. I think they're a lot better.
Yeah.
Mainly because of their accuracy and stabilizers.
Their accuracy, the stabilizers, they have a little higher rate of fire for the light machine gun. And even though their napalm is 1 less HE power, they have 2 more. And I don't know about you, but those napalm rockets always stun when they land. So more stun power, I think, is better.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
So I got the Lijuans and ZSL 56 trucks. And then I got some Commandozis and Scott 2AMs as my sort of elite front fighting unit to fight alongside the Lijuans in terms of cost effectiveness.
Yep.
And then for the AA department, I got Bo Shang-Su's and the VTT 323 truck that they have with the infrared missile. Yes, I got 2 stacks of them and 16 stacks each, so I have 32 of these ready to break to the front line.
Okay.
And that's my infantry.
Oh, that's it, is it? Okay. What about you, Vulcan?
That's 5.
I have, to start off with, Moat Shoots 90. I have them in SPW 60PBs because you get more of them if you do that. Then I also have another card of them, but in BMP2Cs with the HGM. These are relatively expensive infantry. I think all of my infantry is at least 35 points to bring in per card. So yeah, I have pretty expensive infantry, but the Moat Shoots are really reliable, very strong shock infantry for their price. Then I have a unit of Lekka Pohota. They have a 1,225 meter heat rocket. Very, very good for destroying APCs that come near towns. And they can also hold their own with their own armaments. Really good for assaulting towns as well, due to their accuracy and stabilizer being the same, and again the shot quality. Then finally, I do have a card of the Lijuan in the ZSL 56s. Again, yeah, just really, really strong elite infantry. Accuracy and stabilizer actually 5% more than the Spetsnaz, and also the CQC machine gun has better accuracy. So we already covered that, but still worth mentioning.
Worth mentioning is that the 90s are the ones with the napalm. The regulars actually have RPGs.
Yeah, but I have the 90s.
Right.
Okay, right, down to me then. Now then, unfortunately for me, I've got Spetsnaz.
That's fine.
Now that you've both trashed them. But
they're not that much different than the
I'm gonna keep them. The reason I'm gonna keep them is I bought them in Shrezets, I think they're called, which which are quite good if you're sending them through forests, because they can give you some cover from choppers and things that fly over. And when these Shrezets fire off, they actually do a fair amount of damage to choppers and even to stun aircraft as well.
And that is actually worth mentioning that a lot of the Russian units have a lot more choice in their like what sort of APCs they can be brought in. So that's always nice.
But I do like bringing them in these Shrezettes because you don't have to worry. You can throw them into a forest. You don't have to worry about air cover too much as long as they're reasonably well covered. So
they are a very good APC. So Spetsnaz are good because they can come in those kind of vehicles.
Yeah, I've also brought in some Commandosi as my kind of elite infantry, and I got them in Mi-8Ts for a bit of extra fire support. I've got quite a lot of choppers in this deck, so I've got a stack of those as well. And I've also, to complement my Commandosis, I brought in a stack of FJB40s with their Strela 3s, also this time in Mi-8 TVs, with slightly more ammo. As well as that, I've got some Conkers, because I like to have an HEGM squad. I've got two Conker Ms, again in choppers, this time in Mi-8 MTVs again, or the larger powered rocket pods. And finally, I've got Boshong-Sus in VTTs, the little anti-air trucks of death as well. So they're my infantry. I think it's a fairly nice selection which kind of complement each other. I haven't got a lot of infantry apart from the Boshong-Sus, of course, but I think I've got a good selection. I just need to keep them alive.
Yeah, it's a very helicopter based infantry you got going on there.
It is. I did that kind of on purpose, really. Yeah.
I was sort of tempted to get the FJB40s, but I decided having 2 stacks of Boshong-Sus with those APC trucks was sufficient.
Yeah, I've got quite a lot of. I don't have to. If I send these infantry, and I don't have to worry too much about AA. I've got Shreznets, I've got the Boshong-Sus in their trucks, I've got the FJBs. I've got a fair amount of.
You got a lot of anti-air support there
in there already. So yeah, that's it for my infantry. So if we move on to the support.
So to begin with, for me, I have the 9K37 Book M1, best radar AA I think you can get on the Redfor side in this deck. 4,550 meter range, absolutely brilliant with a 65% accuracy and 9 HE power. It's kind of weird though because most aircraft do have 10 health, so they still need to fire 2 shots to normally shoot something down unless it's a weaker aircraft. I don't know if there is any aircraft with less than 10 health though. Is there?
I don't. There might be, but I've actually seen these missiles one shot shoot down a plane. I'm not sure if there's like.
Well, normally they do that if there is like flak nearby, so some sort of like AAA hits them for 1 health, and then a book will shoot them down. But yeah, I don't know. It's a bit strange. But yeah, the 9 HE power isn't necessarily important. Normally, it only really matters if it's only over 6. That's kind of what matters. So yeah, anyway, moving on, I have the HQ7, basically the Crotal, 3,325 meter infrared missiles, incredible against helicopters. So this is like the other end of the spectrum. You've got the Book M1s for your anti-aircraft, and then these HQ7s for your anti-helicopters. 60% accurate, 6 HE power, exactly what you need, just 1 shot. Things like the Recon Helicopters and some weaker normal helicopters. It's very, very good. 70 km/h speed, can get around very quickly. Then I have the 2K22 Tunguska M. This is another brilliant anti-aircraft unit. Often you'll have the radar turned off, so you can get away with using the 3,325 meter range against helicopters again. They have obviously a reasonable range against airplanes as well. The great thing that I like about the Tunguska M is that their airplane range is the same on both their weapons. So although they only use one of the weapons at a time, they only use either the cannon or the infrared, there is the same trick that you can use with the tanks, that if you turn off the cannon mid-fire, it will fire an infrared, and then you can turn the cannon back on to actually shoot down an aircraft a lot quicker. Right. Something that a lot of people overlook.
Yeah.
I think my Tunguskas fire the cannon and the missile at the same time. I'm pretty sure that they have in games.
We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
Well, anyway, 7 HE power on the missile, more than enough to 1-shot some helicopters and 2-shot aircrafts, and that's always great. They're well armored and they're pretty quick for a tracked unit.
Yep.
And then I wouldn't normally do this on a deck that I use for 1v1, but I actually have the BM30 Smirch. And the reason for that is it does have 7 AP power, which is really, really strong for a cluster munition artillery. And that's what makes them so strong and why you see them quite often from the Redfor side.
See them a lot. I see these things all the time in games, especially in 10v10s, yeah.
Yeah. 52,500 meter range is nothing to be shy about.
Yep.
And of course, they are pretty nifty. They can get around and dodge enemy artillery fire pretty effectively.
I can, yeah.
The only thing you have to watch out for, obviously, is that counter artillery, because you don't want to be losing your 140-point artillery units.
Sure. Although you haven't got a fob, remember?
Yeah,
Just
true
remind
that.
you of that. You can use mine. It's okay.
Yeah, in our games that's not so much of a problem. But normally when you use a Smirch in like a 1v1 scenario, is to take out the heavy tanks, and in 1v1 the enemy's only going to have a few heavy tanks, so you don't need that much ammunition.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, I've got the Buratino as my last support unit. This thing I think is really, really necessary for my deck. I don't have much that can deal with pushing into towns or supporting, so I need the Buratino and like Napalm in order to make those pushes work, and this is great for that job.
Yeah.
10 HE power, going to destroy infantry units if it hits them directly, and yeah, just a generally great support unit.
Yeah, I always have a set of them in my Russian or Soviet decks, yeah.
I actually missed the Buratino. I thought it was a prototype unit, so thanks for pointing that out for me, Vulcan. I managed to switch over.
Oh.
Is that all your units?
Yeah,
three
that's all.
sets of AA, quite heavy on the AA there. Excellent. Silver, what you got?
I got the Tunguska Ms as well, because you could turn off the radar guns and they could still shoot at aircraft to do their job, so that's an advantage. I also got the Buck M1s, and I really like these because unlike most Blue 4 anti-air dedicated units, these have 4 missiles instead of 3, so they can fire more often before being resupplied. I also got the Buratino, as Vulcan finally pointed out that wasn't a prototype unit. This took the place of the Malyuka, Soviet heavy sniper artillery, I call, because Buratino is just very good napalm dispersion unit to help clear out towns and forests. And then finally, I also got the Tokchun 152mm artillery, 50 points North Korean artillery, but has 7 HE power, and I just think 7 HE power for 50 points, wide dispersion, so that you can just kind of guesstimate where the enemy could be, if you're not know for certain, makes these pretty valuable on just sort of pestering the enemy's defensive line before you push.
I guess, yeah. Is that it then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm fairly similar. I got the Tunguska Ms and the Buck M1s or MIs as well. I didn't go for the Crotel clone. The rest of my stuff's all artillery. I've got 2 Buratinos, of course, or one set of Buratinos, 2 Buratinos. I was going to go for another set of Buratinos so I can actually swamp a place as I like to do, but I went for the BM24s instead. Maybe you don't like that choice, but I've still got 1 set of Buratinos, 1 set of BM24s, both napalm launchers. And finally, rather than going for some kind of tube or howitzer type artillery, I've gone for the Nonas, which have got a reasonably long range and can snipe anti-air and stuff like that with their decent 7,700 range as well. And that's my support.
Yeah, I really like the Nonas. I think they're one of the best mortar units you can get. The only weird thing is, I don't know why you took the BMs over a second Buratino, like if you want that much napalm.
It was just for the range, really, the longer range. I don't know, just easier to hide around, I guess. I don't know. I just a bit of variety. There was no real reason or logic behind it. Just chose them.
Yeah. Okay.
But just remember, they are a lot more wide dispersion. I've seen infantry escape in
I wouldn't
many
fire.
pockets.
I wouldn't fire less than 2 of these together. So it would be like 100 points to get set out. They are a lot cheaper than the Buratinos.
Yeah, that is true.
But a lot less effective as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
So moving on to the tank department, I'm going to be really interested to see what you guys have got for your tanks. Whoever's first, go for it.
I just started off by getting 2 stacks of T-80Us as sort of the heavy tank, because I mean these things are incredibly strong with their main gun. They have an anti-tank missile. They've got 20 front armor, very fast, good autonomy. It's just a very good unit for its price, and kind of scared off the enemy opponents just by seeing this. I also got for a medium tank the T-72B. It's got pretty good armor, gun, missile, just like the T-80U, just, you know, a little slightly worse, but still pretty good in its own right. And then finally, I got the T-62 MV1 as a more cheaper tank than that, and it's still exact same reasons for the T-80 and T-72B. They all do the same thing, a bit more multi-role. They just it's in terms of price of how effective they are.
Yeah, sure.
Right, I have the T-80U. I have one card. They are great, of course, like you already mentioned. They have 9 rate of fire, which is very important for such an expensive tank. So that makes them even stronger. That's just something worth mentioning. As my next tier tank, I have the T-64 Bmf. Now, to me, this is just a really strong tank. 17 front armor for 130 points is okay, but it's just the capability of them firing max range, 55% accurate, 20 AP power, shells, 4 HE power as well, really strong. Also the 9 rounds per minute, again, really strong for the price.
Yeah, I almost took these over the T-72Bs, but I wanted cheaper tanks.
Yeah, that is like the other choice you can take. The other great thing about the T-64 Bmf is it does have the stabilizer on the HGM, so it can fire it on the move, which is
Wow,
a lot of people overlook.
I never saw that before. Right.
While I do like that option, the actual use in the field I find not quite as good, because if they lose sight at all during that time, the missiles will fly. They're not like helicopters, which can better hold a line of sight. Any building or tree or something as it moves can block line of sight, especially if the enemy's moving as well.
It's still a micro thing though with those tanks. You can fire the main gun and the HGM at the same time if you click it on and off.
Cool.
Yeah, I would imagine that's harder to do though.
Yeah. Anyway, for my next tier down, I have the KPZ T-72 M1. This is another really strong tank. Lacks obviously the HGM, but the reason I have it is because it maintains the long range and the AP power and the HE power for a lot cheaper. You're only losing 3 armor on the T-64 Bmf, and it's still pretty nippy. 8 rounds per minute is reasonable for its price.
Excellent. Okay.
Then finally, I do have a 4th tank, which is the 65-point ZTZ-85-2. This is a 65-point tank with 2,275 meter range, 50% accuracy, and 16 AP power. This thing is a monster for its value, like in terms of value for money. It has 8 rounds per minute, which is a lot better than many of the medium tanks on the Blue 4 side. And with the 12 front armor, this thing can really hold its own, which just makes it so great for its cost.
Cool. Okay.
My T-62 is the same price. It just has the missile, but it has the same armor and a slightly less accurate gun. But that's just still sprinkle. That's just comes down to the statistics, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I've got, of course, I've got the T-80U. Why would I not have the T-80U? It's just an immensely good, even though value for money, 155 points for this tank. Why wouldn't you get it, basically? And you guys have said said it all really about that tank. And I've only got one other tank, and it's kind of a similar one to Vulcan's got. It's a ZTZ 85, but I've got the 2A variant, kind of the top of the range ZTZ, so it does cost a little bit more at 85 points. It's kind of, I feel it's kind of the K. Is it the K1? The K1 of the Redfor. Obviously not as good as the K1 value for money wise, but still decent value for money. So I wanted one really good tank with 80 GMs, and I wanted one tank with a pretty decent main gun for a reasonable price, and then this is the one I chose, and that's all I've got for my tanks.
Yep.
Okay.
I like the ZTZ. Just a point about the ZTZ-85 too, compared to the T62 that you've got, Raptor. The gun is horrific in comparison. Like, yeah, you get less accuracy, but that stabilizer is going to kill it, and so is the rate of fire. Like with the T62 MV, you're paying for the amazing Arcan HGM, so that's really what you're going to focus on in that tank.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, when I was making this deck, I did originally have that as well, but I swapped it out for some other units in the end. But, you know, that T64 with the 80 GMs, it's decent, but you do have to keep it kind of behind and micro it behind other tanks, really, just to keep it safe.
But I do that anyway with these. I use the T72B and the T80U more as like in the front line, and these just sort of support with the missiles behind. And then, of course, they have the main gun when they run out of missiles. So
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I've used them a lot, and I just like them. So
right, let's move on then to the Reconnaissance. I think, is it Vulcan this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to begin with, I have the Mi-8R, which is just the Mi-8 Recon variant. Has exceptional recon, 75 points. Generally, I wouldn't really mind a helicopter having less like decent optics because they're helicopters and the line of sight isn't so much of an issue. But in this case, you know, the 75 points for an 8 strength helicopter is worth having, in my opinion. Can take a shot from a lot of things, like one shot at least, and not be harmed enough for it to be shot down. So I like these. They're reliable, and they give you a lot of information. Okay. Then I have the Spetsnaz Bmf. These are, in my opinion, one of the best sniper squads you can get. I, again, really like sniper squads now. So the 25 points for an exceptional stealth unit. This one just picked my fancy, and they have really good armaments anyway, if they need to engage for whatever reason.
Okay.
Then I have the SPW-60PB ABS. This is just my standard ground recon unit that would move forwards with the rest of my units. Does have AP power, so can deal with enemy APCs pretty easily. Like, the thing is with a lot of Bluefor stuff is that they have a Browning machine gun or something like that, an MG3, but they don't have AP power. So when they come up against like other APCs, they're not going to do anything. Whereas this thing can like just roll on through and be like shooting all those APCs and killing them. So that's something to be wary of when you come up against Redfor in particular. Like the AP power on their APCs is actually a big deal because of the 14.5mm rounds.
Yeah.
This thing's also amphibious. It gets around pretty quick. That's why I like it.
Cool.
And then finally, I have some Spetsnaz GRU.
Of course.
These are 10 strength elite infantry, great for supporting infantry pushes and just hanging around your generic forces. And they also have the Dragunov, so they can engage out of range of generic infantry, which is just absolutely brilliant. So yeah, that's all my recon.
Where'd you bring your Spetsnaz GRU in?
I got them in the MT LBV. Nothing expensive.
Okay. All right. Well, my turn. I've always wanted to try out this Recon Helicopter. The problem is every time I bring it up in a Soviet deck, the KA-52, which is a prototype unit, would always just be better. But this Redfor deck allows me an excuse to use it. The Mi-24K, with its exceptional optics, 10 strengths. It is a little expensive at 110 points, but it's got 80 rocket pods and that Gatling gun. It can actually engage reasonably well. So I finally get a chance to use this helicopter.
Yeah.
They are 80mm rockets, which is something to bear in mind, which is pretty powerful with the 2 HE power. So yeah, it can take out lightly armored units and infantry very, very quickly.
They also have 80 of these rockets, so that's quite a lot of rockets.
Okay.
Next up, I got some Formosa and Scott 2 AMs to go alongside with my infantry. With those grenade launchers, they can help rip apart infantry to shreds, especially fighting alongside Liege 190s and the Scott 2 AMs. You know, a little bit of AA missile support. I also got the Spetsnaz Gru, and you might facepalm a bit, Vulcan, on the vehicle of choice that I brought them in. It's of course the Mi-24D.
Yeah, well, we talked about this previously, and it's just the fact that these, when you compare it to taking this as a helicopter itself, you get it a lot cheaper. So I do get why you take it.
Yeah, especially when you bring them in with elite infantry. And then, of course, I got the BPZV Snezka, the Czechoslovakian unit. It has exceptional optics, but it's got an autocannon that shoot ground and helicopters. So if a helicopter gets too close, or infantry get too close, you can still shoot at them, which you can definitely see them with its exceptional optics. So that's my Recon.
Okay, excellent. I've only actually got 2 Recon. First one is really cheap. It's the Brom 1. However, having listened to what Vulcan had to say about his little truck with its AP, the SPW-20P2, I think it was. No, it was the other one, wasn't it? Yeah, the one with the little AP power. I don't know whether to swap this out, but I think I'm gonna keep it. No, I'm gonna keep it because it's only 10 points, and I have used them in quite a lot in my recent games. They are amphibious. They're pretty fast, and the thing I like is they're 10 points. You know.
Do you want to hear a
10
suggestion,
points,
Bubble?
if you
Grab
want.
the Brom 2. It's 5 points more, and you get that autocannon.
Yeah, you get the AP power on the BDRM2 or BRDM2.
The Brom
It's also
2,
faster.
15 points.
And you get that AP autocannon.
Optics are still good.
The thing is, it's not an autocannon. It's
not,
just
is
a
it?
machine gun
It
with
is.
it's like a high caliber machine gun.
No, I'm
But it
sticking
still
with the
has
Brom.
AP power.
I'm sticking with the Brom 1.
Okay.
And my other one, despite converting Vulcan now to the sniper squad, so I have not gone for a sniper squad. I've gone for the Formosa in MI-17s. I just wanted a little bit more infantry, an elite infantry squad, and I've got 4 units of them here that I can use during the game. They haven't got the range, of course, but they have got the close quarters combat machine gun.
Cool.
That's it. That's all I got for my Recon.
Okay.
Vehicles. I think this might be a short one, guys. Yeah.
Vulcan, you're first.
I have the PTZ-89.
Yes.
That's my only vehicle that I have.
Me too.
It's 2,275 meter range, 55% accurate 21 HG or AP power gun with 10 rounds per minute. It's basically like a self-propelled gun, but the turret can actually turn, which is kind of cool. Which kind of
qualifies
makes
it technically as a tank.
Yeah, it's just a tank, but it's one of those tanks that you will hold back because of its low armor. But the great rate of fire and the great gun is definitely worth having for its price.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Damn. Have you got any others, Silver, or just that one?
Just that one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I missed that one. Flipping heck. I've got the flak again, the SFL 52-2 to supplement my anti-air, but I've got quite a lot of anti-air.
Well, I don't know. You only had like 2 units.
Two major anti-air, but I've got a lot with the infantry.
Oh, right, yeah, of course.
No, I'll stick with my flak. Yeah, I've just got a little bit of flak, basically.
I really, really like them anyway, just to support units.
Yeah, I'll keep them. I'm lacking tanks a little bit, but I'll leave it as it is, and we'll move on to the helicopters.
Yeah.
So what have you got for your helis?
I think it's me.
I think it is.
All right. I first got the Mi-24V because they come with Igla missiles. Pretty good range to be able to engage enemy helicopters. I then got the Mi-24VP, and the reason why I chose these over the Mi-24P is for 20 points more, you get a slightly better anti-tank missile, and you get 4 more of them than you do the Mi-24P. So I got that. And then I got the Mi-25 S24, mainly for its 10 HE power rockets. Because, I mean, bringing these in at train, those Fleta missiles aren't going to hit anything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I've done the same. I only one card of helicopters. I've just got the M25S24, and I do have them hardened. Like Silver said, it's worth having them upgraded a little so you get the more accuracy on the flater missiles.
Right.
Well, I
okay.
got mine trained, so I already have the Mi-24s with their flater missiles that can actually hit things. So I just thought, let's just get the HE power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually gone for I haven't gone for the Mi-25S24s. I've gone for the Mi-24W with the COCOM missiles. Just for their long range, really. I just wanted a nice kind of anti-tank helicopter with a long range. I know my HE, I mean, I probably won't be attacking infantry with this like you guys may be doing, but as far as the range against tanks and armoured vehicles, I've got it on this one, I think. So, yeah, I'll stick with my Mi-24W. And I've also got some W3W Sokol anti-air choppers as well. With I think they've got quite decent anti-air missiles, the same as the other anti-air chopper from the Russians, but just a few less of them, but it's a lot cheaper. So I got those as well.
Yeah.
And that's it for my choppers. So now then, aircraft. This is going to be interesting. So Vulcan.
I saved my points again, so that I had 4 cards of aircraft.
Yeah.
And to start off with, I have the Mig-31 Bm. It's the best seed aircraft you can get on the Redfor side. It's annoying that it doesn't share the same 60% ECM as the Raven, because you only get one of them, which does make it kind of annoying.
But it has 4 missiles as opposed to the Raven, which has 2.
It's good, but the thing that makes seed great is if it hits its target first time round. If the thing stays in the air, it's prone to get shot down. So the number of radar missiles isn't necessarily a big deal, but 65% accuracy is probably good enough to keep this thing alive. I'm just hoping it is anyway.
Yeah. Then
I have a card of B5s. These are great. 3,000 kilogram bombs. Can't get much bigger than that.
15 strengths airplane.
Yeah, they have 15 strength, and they stay alive for, pretty often, basically, because they have so much health. The ECM obviously does let them down, but the strength makes up for it. But the big bomb you just can't get enough of.
Right.
So definitely worth having. Then I have some Mig-29 912As. These are the Napalm Bomber variant. They have 40% ECM and 900 km/h speed. Wanted some more napalm aside from the Buratinos in order to secure my pushes, and these are probably one of the best napalm aircraft you can get. Obviously only 4 bombs, but
they're 500 kilograms.
Yeah, the spread is still pretty decent.
Cool. And you got the Napalm missiles as well.
Yeah. And then finally, I have the Mig-31 Ms. Now, these are like the Tomcats from the Blue 4, but you can only get the Tomcats now as naval units.
Yeah.
So the Mig-31 is like incredible against Blue 4 Air because it has 11,900 meter range against aircraft. As soon as you see an aircraft in and you're a little bit late to react, this thing can come in and fire almost instantly at an enemy aircraft, and it gives it a good chance of shooting them down because they're fire and forget missiles. They also have 8 HE power, and 40% accuracy isn't great, but again, it's decent enough, and they can fire off a few of these pretty quickly. 10 strength, 40% ECM, and 1,100 km/h speed. This is like a pure interceptor that I think is really strong on the Redfor side.
Okay.
Yeah, they obviously seem to be upgraded a bit when I first played with them. When I first tried out the MiGs 31 and 31M, I don't know, they would always get shot down and never shoot down anything every time I tried using them, so I gave up. But
if you get them too close to enemy aircraft, they get shot down easy because they don't have infrared.
Right. Well, I think both of them had semi-active missiles, so I kind of had to still point them in general direction. Otherwise, they would always miss.
Yeah, I think the idea of these is get 2 or 3 missiles off and then evac it, before it gets close to the front.
They always sit at the back anyway because that's what the range is for.
Right.
Yeah, you just got to hope their missiles hit. That's all. It's just the accuracy lets them down a little bit. But if their missiles hit, great. If they don't, then bring them out again in a couple of minutes.
Right.
Yep. So that's it for me.
Yeah, cool. Silver, what have you gone for then?
Well, I got the B5. Basically, every single blue floor player hates encountering the B5. So naturally, you have to get it. I also got the MiG-29 M with its 500 kilogram cluster bomb munition, but also because it has the 4 radar AA fire frigate missiles as well, so it's pretty good multi-role fighter for that. I also decided to go a little bit expensive with the Su-27M with its TV guidance fire and frigate missiles and its anti-air fire and frigate missiles. Of course, you wouldn't want to bring this into a very dangerous situation because you only get one of them, but they're very good. Another very good multi-role fighter. I decided to get the most expensive one
Yeah,
you can get.
yeah. Are those your 3 choices, are they?
Yeah.
Okay, I've gone a little bit similar to SilverRaptor, actually. I've gone multi-role, so I've got the MiG-29M as well as kind of a combined multi-role fighter cluster bomber because it has got the long-range VIMPEL missiles. It's not the short-range one, so you can use it to kind of in the background as well. And the Su-27M, it's the same. You've got the anti-tank weapon and the long-range VIMPEL missiles as well, not the short-range ones. So they are multi-role, but they've got the long-range missiles, which is what I quite like about them. Now, instead of going for the B5, I don't know whether this is controversial or not, I've gone for the IL-102. For no particular reason. I just thought it was a bit of a toss-up between the two. Yes, the B5's got 15 health, but this thing's got armor, and it's also got a gun that can shoot at tanks with an AP power of 4. As well as having its 14 500 kilogram bombs. So this is pretty powerful as well. And then finally, although having looked at or heard about your decks, I'm tempted to get that Napalm Bomber that Vulcan's got now. But I have actually got a cheap one, the F6C, for shooting down those pesky recon choppers, basically. It only costs 40 points, so if you can shoot down a 120 point chopper, then you're laughing, aren't you? And that's my planes.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I quite like those sort of anti-helicopter aircraft.
Yeah.
I just wish infrared missiles were more effective against helicopters.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I mean, I was taking your advice from an earlier video that we did and gone for one with a slower speed so that it might get a couple of missiles off before it gets too close.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it can fire all those rockets.
Can it? Right. Okay, cool. Right, that's it, I think, for me. And anything final to say about the Redfor decks overall before we do our favourite unit?
I don't know. Like just going through both the decks, I think it's quite interesting how balanced they are. Like generally, you'd think in a game with so many units that one would outbalance the other, but it seems like going through both of them that they are both really quite balanced.
Yeah, they are, and very, very good units. Even though you can't pick prototypes, they've still got really, really good units. And of course, the only thing that lets it down is the points. But as long as you don't have really long games, so you don't get your units exhausted, then I think you can do pretty well with these decks. Even though very few people play them these days.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's time to pick your favourite unit. Now I have one in mind. And I really want to go first, just in case. But
go on then.
Yes, you know what it is. Have a guess. Go on, have a guess. See if you get it right.
B5?
No, Silver.
Well, you don't have the B5, do you?
It's the T-ATU.
Okay.
Is my
Fair
favourite
enough.
unit. This tank is just such good value for money. ATGM, really strong armour. It's pretty nippy for a big tank. It's got a nice main gun. And it's just a brilliant, brilliant all-round tank for 155 points.
All right.
Who
What's
wants
your
to go?
favorite unit, Vulcan?
Well, for me, there's a couple, but okay, I was going to say the Mootschützen because I think they're a core of the Redfor deck in my deck especially.
Yeah.
But I'm actually going to go for the ZTZ85 too. I think it's the best value for money tank you can get on the Redfor deck, and for me, this thing never disappoints me. So, my favourite unit.
Okay. What about you then, Silver?
Well, my favorite unit, I was going to pick the Lijuan 90s, but they're so close to Spetsnaz and everything. But I decided ultimately to choose the B5 because everyone who's on the blue 4 who sees a B5 is all panicking. I think in the blue 4 game that we actually played, I was just like B5, 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 shoot it down.
Yeah, okay.
It always causes everyone's heart to stop when they see it flying out.
I love to see B5s because it means you can shoot them down and get yourself 160 points. That's all I'll say about that.
So with Bubblebox finishing off, I'd like to thank Bubblebox and SilverRaptor for letting me help them with their deck videos. If you'd like to see more like this, then please make sure that you check out Bubblebox's playlist. It is in the description, and they do a lot that I don't do, so make sure you check that out. A video with this deck will be up soon, but in the meantime, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.